So, hello and welcome to another episode of the Champion Chat. I'm Carl Garth, and today we have an exciting conversation ahead as we dive into the vibrant worlds of arts and culture in Banyule City. Joining me, as always, is Councillor Alison Champion. Good afternoon, Alison. How are you today?
Carl, I'm great. Thank you. Happy New Year. Welcome back. It's
Happy
lovely to
New
be
Year to you
back.
too. Yes, it is. Yep, and we've been getting some good weather, so it's been great for the garden. Bit of rain, nice heat, even been able to work on my tan.
Yeah, you can work on your tan. Just put your sunscreen on as well.
That's it, exactly. Sun smart.
Mhm.
Also joining Alison today, we have local artist Joe Brazel. Welcome, Joe. How are you?
Hi, it's Joe Brazil, same as the country. No
Very well.
disrespect. But yeah, I'm well and loving
Mm.
this summer and
Mm.
Happy New Year. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, as I said, welcome, Joe. Would you like to give us a little bit of an insight into you, your art, the passion that actually inspires you, a bit of background?
Wow. You're going to turn on a switch and you're going to want to turn it off because I am so passionate. I mean, it's my world, really. And also, community arts is something that I've been passionate about all my adult life, really. And tried very hard to get involved in various ways with another council, which I live on the border to,
Mhm.
and not ever felt either included or terribly excited by. So I won't mention any names because, yeah, it could be annoying to some people. I know there are hard workers in the arts in that
Yep.
shire, but I never felt acknowledged or even accepted, let alone part of the community. So,
So a feather in the cap for Banyule that you do feel that way here.
yeah,
Yeah. So that's obviously the complete opposite at Banyule. Yeah. Okay.
opposite entirely.
Okay. Good to hear.
And Joe, we were talking a little bit earlier off screen about a new venture that you're doing that has a very artistic bent.
Well, it happened almost accidentally. I've been a graphic designer all my working life and worked with textiles and corporate accessories and always loved scarves. And just sort of middle to 9 months in of last year, I thought, wouldn't it be great to make some scarves out of my paintings? So I have a relative who lives in Bandung. We went there for a holiday and I took all the photos, and just like that, we had 6 scarves printed and I was in shock. It seemed simple. Mind you, I don't have Bahasa, my relative does. So we managed to do it. We printed them using a heat technology,
Mhm.
and I have these works of art, my works of art, which have soul on textiles, and each of them has a message.
Mhm.
And I haven't even begun promoting them. I've just done this 60, brought 60 home, and they're like a test run, and there are some changes. But yeah, by March, I should be on the ready to promote. I might do Shopify or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if somebody's got an interest in maybe looking at it or even approaching you about buying a scarf now, Joe, how would they do that?
Well, my Insta address is Joe Brazil Design, and you can see me, you can send me a message. My actual website is under construction, shall we say. It's actually really out of date and I'm not really proud of it. So, well, but everything's changed now. You know how we grow and develop? Well,
Yes.
Insta is now. It's me now. So, Joe Brazil Design.
Fantastic. All right. Well, look, as we said, everybody out there, this is about Banyule and arts in Banyule, which, as Joe has said, is actually quite a dynamic art scene, from public art installations to community-driven initiatives. It's obvious that arts do play a central role in shaping the identity of Banyule and its region. So today we're going to delve in a little bit more on why and how arts and culture thrive here, and what makes Banyule that creative hub for residents and visitors alike. So I think, Alison, if you don't mind, we might start with you just giving us a bit of an overview of Banyule's approach in fostering arts and culture.
Yeah. First of all, we actually have a department with qualified people, officers, to create opportunities wherever opportunities are. And arts and culture generally is it's considered right brain. It's a very right brain, the creative side. So the officers who work in this space are always creating, right, what opportunities, and they're accepting of ideas, and people's suggestions. What can we do? They've got also networks. They've got their own networks as well, and they connect with those people as well to create opportunities for this for the residents of our city of Banyule, as well as those outside. So obviously, we don't have borders. You can go and visit anywhere. So we have a department that's dedicated to it. Our manager of inclusive and creative communities actually she joined us a good couple of years ago now, and she's actually been working with the NGV, the National Gallery of Victoria.
Right.
So she has significant amount of experience in that space at a variety of levels. So she's out, she's right up there with him, she's got enthusiasm as well as the qualifications and the interest and the connections. So we have that. Now, what we provide, the opportunities that we provide for our community is the ability to connect. So we, you mentioned the Creative Banyule platform, the website itself. We've got, you just put into the search bar, arts and culture, and files come up and pictures come up and dates come up. Part of the initiative with ILCH was that it's not just a library, it's the library and cultural hub. And in that building, we actually have art galleries. So you can go to ILCH and not go to the library. You can actually go to the art galleries. And so every month, every 6 weeks, every couple of months, we have a new art exhibition. And the art exhibitions are mostly our local artists wanting to present their work and a certain theme, whatever the theme happens to be. Okay. So often I attend the opens, and I'll take photos, and they will go up on my official Facebook page, so that people can see that there is an event, some of the things they may see at the exhibition or event, and the dates.
Yep.
So there you go. So there is a department. The staff there are really knowledgeable. I know that Steph, one of our curators, very passionate. And we had a conversation recently, which said to me, art is right brain.
Yep. But
she also made the point, look, if your brain teeters right brain, left brain, which is something that mine actually does, she said that's actually a good field to work in, because even though you need to be creative, you also need to have some structure in art when you're presenting, when you're setting up an exhibition. You actually need a left brain angle as well. So if that helps anybody at all watching, if you're a bit left brain, right brain.
That helps me. Thanks.
Good. No, that's all right. My pleasure. But the other thing too, we actually create publications. So one of our publications that's available is the Arts and Culture book. So this comes out, there's one every season. All right. So this is summer. This is the summer season. So there's a lot of information in here about what exhibitions we have, activities we have that are culture and arts related that people can go to and visit. So we have that. So really good. So if you pick up this is usually a customer service desk at Banyule or at ILCH, at the 1 Flintoff Street, the customer service offices. Also at ILCH. So they're available in libraries in Banyule. Yep. So gives you a bit of background on arts and culture, talks about this one for summer. This is the summer one. This is the most current one. Talks about ILCH, Ivanhoe Library and Cultural Hub, as being the central venue. We also, it talks about what's happening in our art galleries in ILCH. So we've got a couple of different art galleries. One's upstairs, one's on ground level. Last podcast, I mentioned the Lego display. So that's something that's written in, it's written in this magazine. A really, really fun activity coming up is, there are a couple here. We've got the St Kilda Film Festival. So we're participating in that this year. So that's coming up. We also have one thing that goes really well, that is great to set up and is beautiful, is actually the Lantern Festival. So we've got the Lantern Festival in March.
Yep.
That's coming up at that's usually at Malahang, and this year again it's at Malahang. But something else that comes in this catalogue is actually the request. We actually put out a request to the community to ask, we're looking at doing this initiative. Are you interested? Would you like to participate with us? Would you like to be able to show your artwork? Would you like to participate in workshops? One of our previous guests, Emerson was one of our guests a couple of years ago in, I think it was the May 23 LGBTIQA plus broadcast. Emerson was one of our guests, and he is an artist. He's one of our local artists, and he has been conducting workshops for many, many people, which are going very well. They're actually fully booked out. He's been conducting workshops over the last few years in Banyule for people who want to learn how to create certain artwork. And he's specifically more sort of manga kind of artwork.
Yes.
Manga theme artwork.
I know that my son is heavily into that manga and Japanese artistry like that.
There you go. So there's that style of artwork that he coaches. He coaches people in. So, and there are other activities that are going on in this book as well that show in this book. Yeah. So this is how we attempt to connect with community. We come up with some ideas, and we work out where the spaces are, and then we just put out the request to the community, and we get so much interest and great response.
And it sounds like something you were just mentioning before with St Kilda is you are looking at wider opportunities to help promote Banyule artists, or give them an opportunity to work in a wider sphere across different council areas or different local government areas.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, that's correct.
So, Jo, Alison just talked about how the council works to foster opportunities, but was hoping that you might be able to share with us the fact that Banyule hosts some remarkable events, including the Banyule Open Studios, which you yourself have been involved with. Could you just give us a little bit more insight on that one?
Well, I've tried, as I said, for years, like 40 years, to get involved with the other open studios, but I obviously it didn't click that there would be a Banyule arts kind of feel. And then I was recovering from a bout of illness, and my son came to check on me. He came to stay for about 5 days, which was fabulous. And he said, "You need to get out more, Mum." And I thought, well, yeah, but how do I do that? And he just got on the computer and found the website. And there were all kinds of things that I was quite stunned existed even. And I thought, I'm at the other end of Banyule, like Montmorency to, ILCH is like, it's about 10K or something. But it never dawned on me that I could be involved in the arts at Banyule. So he started off by enlisting me as a volunteer at the gallery, which I couldn't wait. So it was in the December he volunteered me. And
this is the Open Studios gallery?
Well, this is where we had our exhibition, our Open Studios exhibition. And it was from there I heard, well, it was just before that I heard there was this thing called Open Studios, and I got involved straight away. I thought, I know nothing about it, but I'll just jump right on in. And it was like the answer to all my problems, because I needed community involvement in the arts. Obviously I needed to get to know people, because I knew nobody, even though I lived in that house for 12 years. And it turned out 2 of the artists were in my street.
Right.
And it's not a long street. There are only 17 houses. So I thought, that is magic. It's opened up this whole world to me. And also inviting people into my home. there was a niggling little voice saying, you don't know these people, what will happen? Is it all right? Do I feel safe? And I was a bit anxious, but my husband decided his values were the same as mine anyway. So we just opened the doors and we had about 80 people through on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And people were incredulous that we were so welcoming. And I thought, well, what you ask for yourself is what you would give to others, right? So I've come to that point in my life now where what I want, I like to have from others as well. I can't think of a word to describe it, but so we love having people in our home. We just opened it up. We had wine and nibblies and tea and coffee, and my home luckily has got beautiful lighting, and it was a gallery, so I just put all my work up on the walls, and everyone could see it to its best, point. And I had 30 scarves on the table, and I sold 20. I didn't sell any paintings, but just to meet all these lovely local people who obviously have a passion for art, it's changed my world around.
So is the open galleries, is the open studios concept that a gallery can be anywhere, but someone's house, it's not always an official gallery?
Probably.
Correct.
Right.
No, that's absolutely correct. Yeah. So the Open Studios occurs every year around the November mark.
I hadn't thought of it like that. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. So you just said exactly what happens with Open Studios. It's at the artist's home. It's in the artist's garage. It's in the artist's yard. It's in the, or maybe the artist has a studio elsewhere, off-site, somewhere else, or it's a studio is just a space. It's just a space. And that is the space that artists create for themselves, that they're at peace to create beautiful work, whatever that work is. And Carl, you and I might sit at a desk, whether it's in our home or whether it's in our office or that kind of thing. In my case, sometimes my place of work is somebody else's home, or it's somebody else's yard, depending on appointments that I have. So if you can envisage, our artists have a space that they work in, and it's a space that is conducive to creating an environment for themselves that allows for that creativity.
So what I'm hearing with Open Studios concept, because again, I had no idea about it, is that it gives a place for artists to get in touch with and say, yes, we'd like to be part of this. Open Studios website then details the artists, where you can see them, and this is the weekend that we're running Open Studios, and people can then choose the artistry that they would like to go and see. And if I remember correctly, every artist also, it has a link to their website as well, so that people can see their art beforehand and go, I think I'd like to see more.
So we in one of our last podcasts last year, Carl, Phil Howe was one of our guests. So he's a local artist. He's part of the Banyule Open Studios. You can go to his home and see his work. You can also see his work down in the Lower Plenty shops as well. But if you want to see other work,
I've seen it in there.
Yeah,
and there you go. So I've got this passion for art, so that I want to make some of these half-dead shopping strips come alive with art. Why is it so difficult?
Well, maybe because, to be honest, the shops themselves don't know of these initiatives. So the fact that Peter's art is seen, and is he at what was that cafe across the road from Heidelberg Golf Course?
Correct. So his artwork. So Phil's artwork was actually so that was actually at ILCH towards the end of last year. It was about August-ish. I remember it was cold. So around that time of the year, it was in winter time, we opened an exhibition that showed his work as well as another artist's work. And very recently, I think it was in November, his artwork that was displayed at ILCH is now sitting in Plentyville Cafe in Lower Plenty. So Okay, so this is not an unusual concept. So a restaurant or cafe may actually borrow, if that's the right expression, an artist's work, and it's a space for the artist to display their work. So it's twofold. One, the artwork can be sold.
Yes.
So there is a price tag on there, as well as a little bit of a spiel about the artwork. And it's a place for the artist to display their artwork. And it's an opportunity for the establishment to decorate their walls
And promote someone
and promote somebody else. So rather than, buying cheap prints, for example, and putting them on the walls, they actually promote artists' artwork by putting it on their walls. So their walls are ordained.
Yep.
Phil's work is big. It's not small stuff. It's huge. So, as well as I do, Carl, his artwork fills those walls. And those walls 6 months ago were very dull.
Yes.
They were very grey and dull. Yeah. So that artwork actually enlightens the room. It makes it more attractive. Yeah.
So how do strip business owners in a shopping strip, how can they find out about who's available and might be able to form a partnership with them? What can they do to get a local artist in there?
Yeah. So, the point is made, knowing. You made the point. It's knowing whom to connect with. So Phil lives locally, knows the local area. Our traders associations are headed by, a person who, looks after the association. So the head of the Lower Plenty Traders Association connects with council regularly. She's been in that role for many, many, many years, so she understands how this works. So at some point she would have gotten into a conversation with, whether it's with council or whether it's with Phil himself or any other artists, about what's possible to create, a more artistic, attractive environment. Now, the thing is, Lower Plenty Shops is on Main Road. Main Road is a Department of Transport road. It's 4 lanes. It's 70 kilometres. It has a service lane. It's not like Eaglemont or Monty. It's not
thinking
like
of my local one of Watsonia, which is, to be honest, quite a long strip.
Correct. So that's a road that goes through the middle, and you've got facilities on either side. Rosanna's the same. Rosanna is small, and it has, again, the same road, the Department of Transport road, going through it at 4 lanes. You go at 40 k's and sometimes 60. Just 40 k's or 60. You're not going 70. Just a heads up. and that's a harder. It's more a destination shopping strip because it's on that main road. But that's the same with Lower Plenty. So we've got the Traders Association at Lower Plenty, the head of that, Linda. She's obviously well connected. So she's created those opportunities for our local artists.
Well, when I said, why is it so difficult, I meant something actually a bit different, because a lot of these shopping strips have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 shops that are closed and boarded up. And I have been thinking, wouldn't it be lovely to have a pop-up exhibition now? The actual, one of the actual effects of having open studio is now we all are in contact with each other. Wow. And now the 3 women from my street, we formed a little co-op. We called ourselves the Monty Arts Collective. And wouldn't it be great to have a 1-week or a 2-week exhibition space in a shop? But everyone's telling me, oh, it's too difficult. And I'm thinking,
it's not that hard. You're just going to be in conversation with. So the thing is with shops, what you need to remember is that it's property.
I know.
That is owned by someone. So it's property owned by someone. And it's empty because that property owner doesn't have a tenant, which is not unusual in this economy, I know. And so it's a case of getting in touch with that owner to be able to access. And so that might be why
we have tried. Yeah.
And
they're
that's
not interested. No.
Okay. So, but you give it a go, and it's finding out who's the owner.
Yeah.
And then are they interested? That's another thing. Are they interested? But it's keeping asking. It's just keeping asking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because art can enliven a shopping strip. Yeah.
Absolutely can. Yeah, definitely.
So it
In
really
Weir Street,
is.
there is a sort of, we have in the past around August, there has been the opportunity in Weir Street for our local artists to provide, to show their artwork in the shop windows. So there has been that.
Just before Christmas, one of our members at the Monty Arts Collective happened to know the owner of number 50 Worst Street, which used to be the Mustard Seed Cafe years and years ago, and it's now empty, and it's owned by the church, I think. And they allowed us to have 2 weekends of selling our Christmas gifts, which was just a breath of fresh air. And we all did really well, and everyone loved it.
Great.
So,
that's great. Yeah.
So, Joe, obviously there's been a number of different programs and they can be quite inclusive.
yeah.
For you, has there been a particular project that you feel has been a success that you really would like to highlight, let people know about?
I am still knocked out by how vast it feels to me. It's just wonderful. There are so many different places to go with this. One of them, of course, is being a volunteer at ILCH and at the gallery. And I got to be there with one of my favourite artists of all time, John Borak, I had a print of his on my bedroom wall for 25 years, and I got to meet him in the flesh and sit down and have a chat. And it was just quite lovely, really lovely, and his beautiful wife.
What did you learn from John? What did you get from John?
That he's really human, and that he was approachable and inclusive. And, sometimes these artists that you value highly, you don't ever dream you're going to get to have a chat with. And here he was sitting next to me, and I showed him my work and he loved it. Well, he said he did anyway. He might have been just being polite.
Oh, that's really funny. But that's perfect. And I'm just going to say I do recognise his name. I have seen his name around. Everyone's a human.
Yeah.
Everyone's a human.
And art. I mean, we wouldn't be. Art is part of being human. And why it's put on a shelf somewhere, to me, is a mystery, because it's a language of our soul, along with poetry. We'd be lost without it.
So, Joe, look, you've shared with us what you think has been fantastic, but could you maybe give us a bit of an insight of some of the challenges that artists in Banyule have to deal with at the moment?
Well, I feel very lucky, and I am lucky. I know I'm lucky because I'm educated. I do have access to staff, but some of the people in like West Heidelberg, where the discrepancy between the haves and the have-nots is humongous. Like you'd think of Eaglemont and Ivanhoe compared to West Heidelberg. It's hard to believe they're the same shire. And it's just bloody hard work getting people involved, because it's healing. I'm an art therapist, among other things, and I know how art heals. So a lot of these people who are impoverished, who don't have access to the stuff that I do, would so benefit by having more, I don't know, access to ILCH. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but I would love to have a space where they could receive art therapy, maybe. Well, we don't call it receiving art therapy. It's art for well-being.
Again, I'll come back to knowing that it's actually happening, and knowing that those facilities are there. If they don't know, because they're so focused on something else, then they're not going to do it. So it's probably a good point to look at there, Alison, of how do we let people know of those initiatives?
Yeah.
If they're at ILCH, or is there a place in Heidelberg? Like, I know there's places in Heidelberg West Business Park that could potentially be party to some of those.
Well, I'll give you a really, really good example. I'm glad you brought this up, Carl. So coming back to our arts and culture book, one of the things there that you can do from December to June is the Urban Lightbox. Now, this is a little bit of art exhibition in the Mall in Heidelberg West. So you go down a couple of the laneways. There are some light boxes there that people have created. So they're in the Mall. So if you're living in that part of the world, the Mall is a really central place to.
I have seen that. Yeah.
Eat. Yeah. So there's a really good possibility of you walking past. You might even walk past the light boxes and not even realise they're there. So that is certainly, there is artwork in Heidelberg West. So that's something else that shows up in this booklet. But the other thing too, I mentioned that, we want to support local creatives. So we put out the request, what can we do for you? How can we work together? We call for opportunities.
Yeah.
We actually call out. So this is not only in this booklet, it is on the website. And it's a call out for opportunities. So every year, in the middle-ish of the year, we have something called Chillin' and Banyule. So we put out a request to mostly our musicians.
I was going to say, I'm mostly across that one from the jazz music and all that.
That's right. So the application, so because this booklet came out in sort of December, applications were being asked for, it comes out in around the November to cover summer. So in November and January, we were asking for applications or, comments or some feedback, who would like to be connected with Chillin' in Banyule in 2025. We're also calling out for any performers or stall holders for, other events that we hold. So what you have to remember is government has its own channels and they stick with their channels. And it's, as you say, it's knowing channels. Now, there are members of our community who they're in conversation with friends or relatives or people in the community to say, I like this idea. I've got this idea. I'd like to get it going. Whom do I ask? And there's always someone in the community who goes, well, why don't you just ask local council? So, see if local council can help. And then after that, we work on something out. And in many cases in Banyule, there is a connection. There is somehow a connection. So even if you were to contact your local councillor and the local councillor may know something, they may not know something, but they can then connect with the officers and go, let me connect you with an officer in that area and we'll see what we can come up with. And there are times when, that's actually the officer you need to speak with. And you're not only, the resident then learns, oh, okay, there is an opportunity here. And how big is this opportunity? And sometimes it's a lot bigger than is understood or thought, even for the councillor, especially when they're new. So there's a lot going on in local government. Yeah.
Well, and that's a great segue into our next part. I mean, what is it that we should be marking on our calendar or keeping an eye out for when it comes to upcoming festivals, exhibitions, etc.?
Yep. Okay. So I did mention a few at the start of our podcast, and I'm sorry, I'm going to need my glasses now because I do need to actually read. So like I mentioned, December 24 to June 25, our display dates are for the Urban Lightbox Gallery in Heidelberg West, in the laneways in the Mall there. And a lot of that artwork is actually created by the residents of the Araluen Centre in Lower Plenty. So there you go, there's different members of Banyule connecting. So Cambridge Arcade, Midway Arcade, Bell Street Mall and Olympic Village Shopping Centre. So they're in there, they're your village light boxes. The Lantern Festival on the 21st to 22nd of March, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. That is a free event at Malahang Reserve. Show up.
Malahang Reserve is in?
Heidelberg West, Southern Road, Heidelberg West. You'll see it. You drive past and you'll see those lanterns going up. You can't miss it. So that's the 21st to 22nd of March, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Walk, get off the bus, walk, take your car, park locally. It's free. It's a free event. You just show up. And it's for all ages and all abilities. So, there's no real discrimination there at all. Harmony Bazaar on Saturday, the 15th of March. From 12 till 3, there are music workshops and a market. And then from 3 p.m, there's a movie on. At the moment, that's Ferdinand. So we've got Ferdinand screening, at 3 p.m. for the Harmony Bazaar. Harmony Day is the 21st of March every year, and orange is the chosen theme colour, orange. But that's Harmony Week. So Saturday the 15th of March, we've got a cultural market, movie and events. You would need to contact Arts at Banyule to find out where it is. I don't actually have a location there. We also have our outdoor movies, Saturday the 1st of February at the Ivanhoe Park, which is in Lower Heidelberg in Ivanhoe. From 4 p.m, we're showing Rio. That's for the younger kids, little ones, the younger primary kids and the kinder kids. And then from 6:30 p.m, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I might actually go to that one.
Bueller.
That's right, just to see that again, just to see that. So there's that. So they're our events that are coming up. Now, there is one exhibition coming up in ILCH. Very exciting. That's all I can really share with you at the moment until we have. So this is in cohesion or connection with state government. So this exhibition is being created. It's connected with state. So we need to actually wait until a press release is announced. We need to wait for the press release. But we as the officers, obviously, and we as councillors, we're aware we've got a very special art exhibition happening very soon, and that's all I can share with you until we can tell you.
Oh my goodness! I'm holding my breath.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
When I was putting this script together, I did hear about the exhibition. I was really hoping you might have been able to share some details, but I guess we'll have to wait for the press conference.
Yeah, and I'm really sorry, not yet, but as soon as we know, I can let you know.
Okay.
I can let everybody know. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that.
And Jo, do you have any exhibitions at all coming up that you're involved with?
Not me per se, but I'm just overwhelmed with all the ideas I've just had from Alison and you guys, because I have a feeling that people are holding their purse strings tight and they're not purchasing any of my artwork. So maybe I'll start putting them in my paintings into cafes and enabling the owners to purchase my scarves as prints of the paintings and make a bit of money for themselves. So that's just a new way of thinking for me.
I do know one thing that happened up in Bendigo, where I'm originally from. A number of the restaurants up there, they would actually lease local artist paintings, and they would run their restaurants as a gallery, so people could still buy the art, but they were leasing the art to be on the wall. So they tended to then get some sort of commission from the sale of the painting because they were leasing it, and therefore that led to the sales. So, yeah. Well, let's talk about, how can the community engage? So for listeners of this podcast, people who are watching who want to get involved, whether it's participants, volunteers, or just as art enthusiasts wanting to find how they connect with the Banyule art scene, what is it that they can do? Where can they go? Okay,
so you can start by, Jo, I'm sure would be happy to have a conversation. You can contact us directly, ward councillors. Say, hi, I'd like to know a little bit more about this. Like I said, this book is actually available, customer service officers, it's available at libraries. So there's that. At the back of this, so I'm just going to read a little bit from the back of this one, you can actually visit ILCH, you can visit the libraries. There are staff there who'll be able to help you with that.
Very friendly too, might I add.
They're beautiful. Yeah. Library staff are great. And I'm not biased. I'm actually on the library board. They're great. I do love our library staff. Website. So the Banyule Council website does have an idea of exhibitions, festivals, what's coming up, what's on. We can actually include some of these links as well, Carl. So there are some specific links, but they're all connected with the Banyule website, banyule.vic.gov.au.
That's how I learned about it. I went straight to the website and I was shocked at how huge it was.
Yep. There's a lot going on.
It's only a year that I've been involved. Can you believe that? My God.
And you're very excited.
And I'm sorry, my life's changed.
Yeah, that's great to hear. That's great to hear. It's better for the better.
Much better.
For the better. So there are those ways that's possible. And again, you know, Jo, I think you mentioned Facebook, social media pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled to say that things like Monty Life have enhanced my experience of social media. And I've had some wonderful positive experiences just from being on Monty Life, which is a Facebook page. And Eltham is not quite as easy-going, but for me, I mean, I'm 70 now, so I'm looking at things that are a bit more gentle, slow-paced, peaceful, all that. I found a wonderful home help friend on, Monty Life.
So sometimes your social media pages.
Yes, the community forum pages.
Yeah, they're available. There are people on there a lot, and they'll be able to respond accordingly if you put out that request.
Okay. Look, that's all great to know. So we're nearly at the end. So before we wrap up, do either of you have any final thoughts or messages for our listeners about the role of arts in our community?
I am absolutely stoked to be asked this question. I mean, as human beings, we're all creative, and I won't hear anyone telling me, oh, but I'm not a creative type. We are all creative in some form. We're all problem solvers, which means we're creative. You have to be a problem solver to exist in this horrible sometimes world. But art and the community, to me, go hand in hand. I wouldn't be the person I am without art, and I'm happy to share it with anybody who knocks at my door, which I did for Open Studios. So get involved, people. It's wonderful, healthful.
Fantastic.
I have nothing else to say. Jo's just said it.
Oh, okay. Well, Alison, Jo, thank you for today and sharing your insights. It's clear arts are not just an adornment to our lives, as you said, Jo. They're a vital part of what makes us a vibrant and really connected community. So,
absolutely. And mentally healthy. Yes.
Yeah.
Joy.
Thank you for being on, Jo.
Oh, such a pleasure.
It's been great.
I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And I'm going to add something to that. Jo and I only met in, was it November or beginning of December, something like that. Jo contributed to our Banyule think tank. So one of our last sessions of the Banyule think tank was end of November, beginning of December, something like that. And a lot of the councillors showed up and listened to our residents and what they would like to see and hear and know and experience in Banyule. And that's where I actually met Jo. And when I heard Jo's story, I've gone, this is awesome. Jo is exactly whom we need on our podcast.
Yeah, I'll do almost anything within reason for community arts.
There you go. You heard it here live.
Absolutely. That's a high bar, Jo.
What have I said?
Well, look, to all our listeners out there, you've heard from Jo and Alison. If you'd like to explore the arts in Banyule or get involved, visit the Banyule Council website. Check out platforms like Creative Banyule, Banyule Open Studios, local Facebook pages. We will provide links in the episode description or the copy below this podcast. So thank you all for tuning into the Champion Chat. And until next time, stay inspired and stay connected with your local arts community. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you all very much. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.